Good morning, everybody. Well, we're still in a holding pattern. We'll see how long this lasts. We all know that news could come out to move this market significantly one way or the other at any moment. Depending on what you listen to, they say it could take weeks, but who knows? It's a moving target. Anyway, yesterday turned out as expected, basically running in place. No change from the big red bar. So far, prices are staying in the lower third. Open and closes, as you can see, were about the same yesterday, just chopping back and forth. And today, opening up a little bit lower, nothing of any real significance. See where we are, 355.56, almost unchanged. It was a little lower, 354-ish. So it was under yesterday's low, which in reality isn't that big of a deal, since we've got this other bar right to the left there, which held the gap. So we're going sideways here after this run, and we're just waiting. And I guess 350 below 352 or 48. I guess that would be something of significance, of course, which would open up the door to I think a sizable move to the downside. So far, it's just sideways, and we'll wait until it resolves itself one way or the other. And so, for the most part, I know we're pretty much staying with some spreads or day trades. Not too many things look like swing trades at this point. Well, we looked at some of those low price stocks. They look pretty good. Some of the junk. Anyway, maybe look at that later in the day in the green room. So futures, not really much difference. And one of the things I said during the week was, sometimes look at this when we get these big bars, look at this on a closing basis, and just brings us back to nothing's going on. We have no idea where this is going to end here today. So far, obviously, it's a red bar inside yesterday's range. Nothing of significance happening here pre-market. We don't have any prices clearing highs or lows. Whenever things are up and down. The larger mover, YM here, really not a big deal. I don't know where this is going to, end the day, and neither is anybody. It could be a bottoming tail bar. It's a little extended, so it makes sense from the bullish point of view that this chop sideways, building an area to move higher from, and based on the strength of this move. So this big wide bar, it was like that kind of range expansion and volatility has to contract, and that's what's happening right now. Red bar today, is it a bottoming tail bar? I don't know. We'll see. Here, where it had the potential to go higher, it pulled back here. So maybe it's got to come down here to this 28,800 level, where buyers feel more comfortable stepping up again. Then we see how far it can retrace. Not much to go on here. And Qs just kind of flip-flopping. Just grinding higher, now showing a little bit of relative strength. Not much to really stop it from going up. Got a whole number of 12,000. And yes, keep an eye on this pre-market low here around 11,800. Breaking that begins to negate yesterday's reversal, which is, again, an odd kind of a pattern how it went up in the big bar. And we got this reversal, but this kind of a pattern wouldn't surprise me to see it this turn into a red bar and a measured move lower. And just guessing here which way, but we'll just see how it unfolds. Russell, looks similar to the others that are strong. They'll run up, they'll move down, the sideways consolidation, when you see, pivot highs and pivot lows opposing each other in a relatively small range, the message there is stand aside. There's just not enough movement to get involved. Look elsewhere, because this is not where it is. Now, if it breaks below the lows, well, now we've got something to consider. And if it breaks above the highs, which it kind of looked like it maybe was going to do yesterday, but it couldn't do it. So the uncertainty continues. Sometimes it's hard to accept that there isn't great opportunities there, and sit on your hands. It can get boring, but it's better than getting chopped around and losing money. Clearly, gold came back strong, clearing the highs, and now it's consolidating. Same story pretty much everywhere. Now we've got a little breakdown failure on the weekly and a wide range bar up. Got today and tomorrow to go to see where it ends, but that is a bullish reversal. And a lot of times that's followed by a little consolidation. As long as it can hold, and we do the same thing. Right? Wash and repeat, factory work as we call it. Stay in the upper half of the wide bar. Even more bullishly, it stays in the upper third and maybe chops around and then continues to go higher. And if it does, that's a good sign for the markets. And bonds, what are they doing here? I skipped that. Nothing. Downtrend. Nothing there. Gold. What a mess. What a mess. Going back to here, just reviewing, that breakdown, my thought was based on the higher time frames, it could be a downside shakeout. Didn't look like it was going to working, looked like it was going to work. And then the news, this election, and then right back down again. So another market that's saying, for the most part, just stand aside. This is chopping around back and forth here. Such a nasty big red bar suggests that it would break lower, but that big bar creates a void, as you can see. It's a perfect example of big wide range bar creating a void. And if this continues for not too much longer, but because it shouldn't take too long, but you can see the move down here, and it came off of the low, buyer stepped up again. And if it clears here, that's where shorts really have to, adhere to the plan, because if it got above here with any authority, there's nothing that says it can't go all the way back up. The same way it came all the way back down when it failed. So, you got to have your line in the sand and accept that whatever you're doing in the moment, if it's not working, just step aside and reevaluate. And I don't have much more to go on, Dan, other than hand it over to you and just say we're waiting for some event, as we call it, that guides us to some movement in one direction or the other that might be meaningful. Just looking at the Dow here, that gigantic gap up, and so far it's holding the gap, and that's a positive, but we don't know if it will. And so wait and see. Set alerts, right, on the Dow, even if you're not watching it. Most of us don't follow the Dow index, maybe the diamonds, but set an alert down below this level and be aware. If it's breaking down, you may not be watching it, but let the computer watch. If it's breaking down, then that maybe gives you a heads up. Hey, start looking at other things, maybe Dow stocks, to shorting them. Maybe this is going to fill the gap. So we're waiting for some information as to which way these things are going to go. And just look at the diamonds here. That reference point, the bottom of that bar. Just, set alert below 292. Set an alert above 296.5. Maybe it's taken out yesterday's high. And if it does that, we can go back up to the high of the bar there. So far, it's down here near the low. The buyers need to try and hold it. Not absolute that they have to hold it. to keep the bullish move intact. But ideally, in situations like this, we don't want to see it fill this gap. You want to see it as it can come down to this support level here, when it was resistance, become support, and then buyers feel comfortable getting more aggressive on the buy side at that level. Same way we trade gaps, something that well, this gap up, say, it had come down here. That's exactly where I'd be looking to be a buyer there or a buyer here at those support levels once I got a reversal pattern. And transports, really not telling me much other than they negated what could have been a head and shoulders top, and markets are consolidating. So we're in a holding pattern. We're waiting. I don't know if we get any kind of action today, but until proven otherwise, I'm just looking at day trades and mostly in the equity futures. So, all yours, Dan. Market internals. Where are internals? Bearish extreme. It's coming up to bearish here. So it hasn't pushed up above 0.8 yet, Tony. This is already up. Breadth is at a bearish extreme. And again, got some put buying there yesterday. Breadth was dead neutral, which you would expect on a day that went nowhere. So we don't have a signal yet. Both of these have to agree with each other. Otherwise, it doesn't really mean much. But this has moved up, but it should have moved up. Right? With a move like this, where it gave a bullish signal, for this to have moved up and not get to a bearish extreme would be a bad sign. So let's see, if this continues to push up. I imagine the option traders will buy more calls and we'll get a sell signal, but we don't have it yet. I'm done, Dan.
But if they buy calls and it goes up, well, we'll just see. I don't know if they're going to be in alignment, but we'll see. All right, let's go right to the interest list unless you have a question on any open. We're actually flat in the weekly option trader. We had a nice put spread on Amazon yesterday, on NVIDIA for a day trade today, and a put spread looked fantastic. This gapped up, came in, minor support. So this looks very good for a day trade. KWEB was also on our list yesterday as a late day breakout, kind of a reverse head and shoulders here. But now it's gapping up and it's getting right there at the gap resistance, so that messed it up. But nice reversal here on major support in the 50. Put spread on Zoom, it's in a downtrend, but if it's for tomorrow, then sure. Sure. So it looks like, you hear me say this all the time, that the media just puts an idea in people's head and just so they have something to talk about and explain sector rotation and all this kind of jazz. So now they're talking about, the stay at home is back on coronavirus, and that's explaining why a lot of these beat up sectors that have the big gap up are retracing because more coronavirus. I mentioned I wish we were considered selling more out of the money call spreads on these airlines. I mean, they have a vaccine? Do you think the market value of American Airlines really should have gone up 40%? And Carnival, Gustav, your drop down. I mean, look at this. A junky American Airlines. It went from 13.75 to 20. Yeah, that made sense to me. I don't know what's going on here. Big old gap, EDRY, but nothing to do with it. Yeah, you know, Steve, and this is like, you know, not being complacent or whatever words you want to use. Every single day here in my local newspaper, every day, they have big story on the number of COVID deaths. I don't read one single word of that article. I just don't. Yeah, Restoration Hardware. Yeah, I mentioned, you know, it looked like a call spread the other day. Good thing we didn't do it. It was too spready. But the caution on that I did mention was at the time, you can see this tail right here. This is a bullish 180 reversal on the weekly. And when we were looking at it, this was a bull 1, 2, 3. And I said, if we take out last week's high, this thing, that's a powerful bullish reversal, bullish weekly chart. So we did look at this in our MT live yesterday. And so, you know, that was noon over here. So it was more at these levels, right? And we said it would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3, but it kept running into the close. It ran another $10, so it messed it up for us. Disney day trade shorts, yeah, still looks lower. Marriott, yeah, you know, just let's go through our checklist, put it in a window, see if the market's weak, 15-minute low, whatever the case. Yeah, GRWG is on my list here. It was a buy setup, reversal, bottoming tail, but it came in hard, and now it's 22.35. So I don't know what to do with it now, except maybe a put spread, yesterday's low. Brian XBI, it's neutral. It's neutral. You know, you do got like a flagpole here that's holding the upper 40%. It's kind of dead neutral to me right now. I don't know what this little guy's doing, but ZCMD, big gap up. It's a buy setup. This could turn out to be a day trade if we get a double bottom. Because see, I mean, it's a big gap, but it's not a crazy one like gapping up to $5. It's gapping up here to 280. So as long as you get a compelling day trade setup, then yeah, that'd be fine, McGraw, sure. So now this is a beautiful gap breakout, but the gap's too big for me. Look at this. MA is flattened out. It's been going sideways for 3-4 months, and it's a gap breakout. If this were gapping up to the low 26s, for example, then that would be a tier 1 gap, and we would buy a 5-minute high. It's, you know, looks like it's all-time highs. It's just I don't chase. Yeah, Baba's on my list too. Yeah, I just was reading in the journal today that they had sold $75 billion online, biggest sale day ever. But your question, interesting play back to all-time highs. Well, Cliff, there's absolutely nothing on this a daily or weekly chart that suggests, or monthly, that it is a compelling setup with a bias to all-time highs. There's nothing. And let's talk about it. It all started with a breakout failure, nasty gap, sell setup, bearish engulfing, ugly gap, lower lows, lower highs, climactic monthly, igniting, To me, maybe day trade, maybe best case scenario, a put spread for tomorrow, but I wouldn't even do a put spread for next week on this pattern. Momentum is down, but it's a reverse head and shoulder on the 15. And that's what we were doing pretty much all day yesterday, as we were trading bullish 15-minute charts as day trades, because the dailies are wrecked. Steve Sorrell, if you will put your drop down, all panelists and attendees. Yep, RCL, another junk sector. That's worthy of a day trade short. Sure. And Steve's asking me about Groupon. You don't have much volume. I'm not crazy about that one. You got no, I don't know. RCL is superior as a day trade short. JWS tends, this was whatever, what's the hedge fund guy's name? Liechtenstein or whatever. He was on CNBC doing something with this stock. But that's a bullish gap. There's just no price void. NVIDIA, I mentioned, I like this as a day trade. It looks fantastic. Myrna, yeah, Myrna day trade. Yeah, Myrna day trade and also put spread. So I like that, Arun. Yep. Day trade and put spread. Seger, this is a bottoming pattern, right? It's still not gapping over this resistance, but it's a bottoming pattern. So here's one bottom, here's a second bottom, here's a third bottom. You know, the MAs are still down, but it could be worth watching for a put spread. On YouTube's asking about JD Ardus Court. JD, it had the reversal. It's gapping up to resistance. I like NVIDIA. I like NVIDIA so much better than this. Square, we were also watching yesterday. Over yesterday's high, but it's gapping up, had a little breakout failure, but it's still worth watching. So far, NVIDIA looks the best to me. Hey, Seuss, your drop down. Ardus, that was a beautiful trade yesterday. Breakout daily, weekly with a price void. Yesterday was your entry. Look, bottoming pattern, new low, snapped right back, wide range bar, 4 or 5 bullish inside weeks. This is, do you all see how we talk about all these concepts in MT Live? So you got your breakdown failure, you got bullish price action at resistance, then you got a price void. That was a beautiful, beautiful trade the last 2 days. Right now, I can't tell where it's gapping, but you know, I wouldn't swing it now. It's too late, but day trade over the high, it looks fine. Zulu, yeah, day trade over the high is fine. XPEB, yeah, that's on my list. It's worth watching. I mean, it's gapping up here. I can tell by these overlapping bars, there's going to be resistance on an intraday chart. You know what? We actually, do you remember? We actually bought this on this gap breakout day, 1014. And we sold, I forget, or maybe we sold way out of the money puts, I forget, but look, and I think we closed at break even, but look at that. Made a new low, snapped right back, gap up on volume. Wow. Wow. Run, C-spot run. I wouldn't touch this as a long, but it gapped up. It's a retest, gapped up again. So maybe this is a put spread candidate for tomorrow, if there's any juice. Rick, your drop down. Oki, we actually have a covered call. We're short the 33s. Deep retracement. And do you remember? I don't know if Debbie's here, but Debbie was questioning why I was legging into those $33 calls. It looks like that was quite a hero move now. Chewy, selling off Walmart competition, puts are juicy, but there's no pattern. So, I mean, if there's no pattern, then I got no opinion. And that's the one we looked at already. LMB. All right, so this is a good gapper. So this is a big, long, controlled consolidation, declining 20, rising 50, and it's not gapping too much. See how it's gapping right here to 10 bucks? That's a beautiful gapper right there. Let me put him in a window. He's sloshing around, so it's not a great, it's not a good pre-market. Yeah, it's light volume. Wow, there must be wide spreads because look, this print just went from 10 bucks to 9.45 in one print. So that's a weird pre-market. Here's another one that's kind of like that one I just looked at, Jake, XPEV. You know, buy setup, nice gap, but it's gapping to resistance is the problem. Baba, we talked about. Boeing, you know, I guess they're just falling with that same coronavirus jets kind of story. It'd be a call spread. Boeing would be a call spread for tomorrow. NOW gapping up to 519. That's a big gap, nothing to do with it, unless you can get a put spread under yesterday's low. Can't hear, McGraw? Well, why the heck do you think you were at the doctor's office the other day? McFly. Neo, yeah, we had a call spread that I tightened the stop yesterday, and we stopped out at a profit. There's no pattern now. It's at the prior highs. No pattern here. AMT. I don't know what's up with this, but the gap's too big. PDD gapping up to 138. You're gone. So there's the XPEV we talked about. Wix, no pattern. Actually, McGraw, this could be a condor. If we can get wide enough, 240s and 310s, then that's a condor. Look, we got, well, flat to declining MAs, but we got multiple reference points of support, multiple resistance. Q's the strongest. Facebook, I see on the 15-minute chart. Facebook's a day trade candidate. That looks great. 5-minute high. I don't trade personally in the first 5 minutes. Facebook 5-minute high looks fantastic. Alex likes buying at 5 seconds after the market open. I'll bet Alex is probably in this already.